Good morning, folks. My name is Kurt Hitzemann, County Court Judge here in Hernando County. You folks are here for your first appearance. The purpose of the first appearance is so that you may be informed of the charges against you. I will determine if probable cause exists for those charges. Probable cause simply means it's more likely than not that a crime has occurred, and more likely than not that you're the person who committed the crime. Of course, as you stand before me this morning, I presume that you're innocent of these allegations. The presumption of innocence will stay with you through every stage of the proceedings, unless and until the state attorney's office can prove the charges against you beyond and to the exclusion of a reasonable doubt. We'll set your conditions of pretrial release this morning, that is your bail or your bond. In most cases, you've had a bond set already pursuant to the bond schedule here in the 5th Judicial Circuit, or the warrant which led to your arrest. I'll determine if that bond should be raised or lowered or left the same, or whether there'll be additional conditions of pretrial release placed upon you. We'll let you know when your next court date will be. If you'd like to have the services of the public defender, I'll gladly appoint the PD to represent you this morning. You do have a right to have contact with folks on the outside, family, friends, counsel. If you haven't had a chance to make that call, please let me know. We'll make sure that that happens. Finally, and most importantly, you're advised that you do have an absolute right to remain silent with regard to the facts which surround your arrest. I encourage you to do that. These proceedings are recorded. In addition, there is an assistant state attorney in the courtroom with me. If you say something that tends to incriminate you, they will use it against you in the prosecution down the road. I now need each and every one of you there at the jail to please raise your right hands and be sworn. You all solemnly swear affirm, tell truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth. Outstanding. When you hear your name called, please step forward to the podium. Ramonte Norfleet. Wonder, Ramonte, what's your date of birth?
5/1/90.
All right, you're here this morning on a warrant that was signed by Judge Heinemann. He found probable cause for 2 counts: criminal use of personal identification information and fraudulent use of a credit card. Mr. Brown.
If the court please represent Mr. Norfleet, would ask the court to consider ROR, or as close to an ROR as the court can do under the circumstances. I advise the court that Mr. Norfleet has substantial ties to the community. He has no previous criminal history that I'm aware of. He contacted my firm as soon as he found out that there was an investigation. We determined that there was a warrant. We arranged voluntary surrender, and he did voluntary surrender himself. He is not a risk of flight, given the lack of prior criminal history and the voluntary surrender. He is not a violent person. There's no history of violence nor allegations of violence. This was an opportunity property crime, which Mr. Norfleet substantially and sincerely regrets. He could have bonded out. Instead of using the money to bond out, he put that money into our trust account for payment of full restitution in advance to the victim. I reasonably anticipate that this would be a PTI disposition, and would respectfully ask the court to grant him, as I said, ROR, or as close to that as we can.
All right. And state any history.
On his record, on his rap sheet, I show 1 failure to appear from August of 2006.
And nothing else, nothing to go with it.
No, probably with some kind of either a ticket or a citation, not printable, but that's about it. I do have that failure to appear on his prior history.
Okay. And Ramonte, I've got an address for you on Union Street in Brooksville. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been there?
Almost a year.
All right. You got a job these days?
Excuse me?
Do you have a job? Do you work?
Yes, sir.
What do you do?
Dietary aid.
Okay. Tell you what, I'll set the bond at $500 on each account, so the total is $1,000. We'll have you back in court on the 4th of June, Ramonte, all right?
All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And then, Mark Gould. Is there some kind of...
If the court please, Mr. Gould is before the court. We represent him in this cause. We also represent him in Pasco County on some unrelated circuit charges, which I believe will be resolved. To facilitate disposition in Pasco, we respectfully request the court to allow us to withdraw the previously entered plea of not guilty, to enter to the court a plea of no contest, and ask the court to sentence to credit time served.
Aaron, do you know anything about any of this?
I have sheets on two
cases, right?
The 18 and then 1525 was the
Marijuana
paraphernalia.
Right. And 739.
Yeah, I think the state's okay with time served on the 1525.
739 is
739 is a battery. After we, I don't know if he had failed to appear, I'm not sure of the history, but the victim was okay with a probationary sentence, with restitution and reserve.
And like probation,
Do
Judge.
you know how long he's been in jail?
No, sir. With course probation.
Yeah.
Mark, how long you been in jail?
About 3 months.
I think both of these came in as felonies. Both have now been removed.
This was something
Yes, sir.
burglary, battery, and the video showed the battery here.
Today's the 11th.
We left a message for the victim that we understood that the defendant was going to open plea this morning,
Okay.
so we wouldn't have an input on the sentence.
Okay.
The offer was.
It's got 99 on the
In this case, Your Honor, there is restitution, I know, because we have to send an application to the Attorney General's office on behalf of the victim.
Okay.
So,
And I'll certainly order it and reserve it. I don't think there's a problem with that.
Yes, sir.
And then on the new case, just file this is clear. Or is this also a remand? Okay. All right, very good. Mark, you understand by entering pleas in these cases, you give up the right to have a trial by jury, the right to confront the witnesses against you, the right to remain silent. But you want to give up those rights so we can take care of these cases today?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Are you satisfied with your lawyers?
Yes, sir.
You had enough time to speak to them. They've answered all your questions.
Yes, Your Honor.
We'll start with case number 18MM739 as to the charge of battery. How do you wish to plead? You can plead no contest.
No contest.
I'll accept that plea, find it's freely and voluntarily made. I'll adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 90 days in the county jail, credit 90 days served. There'll be a fine and court cost of $830, cost of incarceration. I'm going to order restitution and reserve on the amount for 60 days. In case number 18MM1525, as the charge in count 1 that you possessed marijuana, how do you wish to plead? You can plead no contest.
No contest, Your Honor.
In the charge of count 2, possession of paraphernalia, how do you wish to plead? You may plead no contest.
No contest.
I'll accept those pleas. I'll find they're freely and voluntarily made. I'll adjudicate you guilty on both counts, 90 days in the county jail on each count, credit 90 days served on each count. There'll be a fine and court cost on count 1 of $533 and on count 2 of $103. That takes care of your locals, the misdemeanors here. Mark, if you have issues in other counties, you're free to bond out or go there or whatever you need to do to get to Pasco, all right?
The marijuana case was a new case, so I've only been in jail for 60 days on that.
Well, all right. So we'll make those 60 and 60. Anything else, Mark?
That's it, Your
All
Honor.
right, very good. Good luck to you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You bet.
Is the court please take this my business? May I wish the court a good weekend.
You too.
Be excused.
All right. Have a good day, Jim.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Jessica Anderson. Morning, Jessica. What's your date of birth?
2890.
Jessica, you're here on a charge of battery being domestic in nature. There's probable cause for that charge. As to that charge, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Yes.
I'll appoint the PD. Stay with me and tell me.
1 arrest and 15 for petty theft.
All right. Jessica, I have an address for you on Highway 41 in Shady Hills. Is that where you live?
I live in Highway 41, yeah, but it's not Shady Hills.
In Spring Hill?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And does William live with you?
Yes.
And you both live in Spring Hill on the Pasco side?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And how long have you lived there?
About 8 months now.
Do you have a job these days?
No.
All right, Jessica, I'm going to set your bond at $500. Condition of the bond is that you have no contact with William. No contact means no contact of any kind. You don't call, you don't write, you don't email, you don't text message, you don't contact him through any social media, you don't contact him through a third party, don't go where he lives, don't go where he works, you don't have any contact of any kind. Any way that you might imagine contacting him, I forbid you to do that. If you have contact and we find out about it, your bond can be revoked and you can be held without bond until your charges are resolved. It means no contact even if he wants to contact. So if you answer your phone and hear his voice, you should hang up. If you're out and about and see him, you should turn around and run the other way. You need to understand that he cannot drop the charges against you. That is not a decision he's allowed to make. He may go to the state attorney's office and ask them to drop the charges. He may tell them he's not interested in pursuing this matter. But that decision belongs solely to the assistant state attorney handling your case. So unless that person or the judge on your case tells you the charges are dropped, you should assume they're not dropped and you should not have contact. In addition, I have to hold you up until 4 p.m. this afternoon so that if he wanted to serve you with a civil injunction for protection against domestic violence, we'd know where to find you. If you get the civil injunction, it's doubly important that you not have contact, because in that case, not only would you get your bond revoked here, but you could get new charges for violating the injunction. As long as William decides to stay in that address on US 41, you'll have to stay somewhere else until we get this case resolved. You can go by one time to collect your things, your clothes, your toothbrush, whatever you need for wherever you're going. But in order to do that, you would need to contact the Pasco County Sheriff's Office. They'd meet you there with a deputy who'd stand by while you collect your things and got going where you're going. I'll have you back in court on the 8th of June. Very important that you contact the Public Defender's Office when you get out, all right?
Alright, I had a question though. He's an over-the-road truck driver.
Right?
So he left yesterday as far as I know.
Right?
Am I able to stay in that house with our children since he's not home?
I am not telling you not to have no contact with a house. I'm telling you not to have contact with a person. The risk is always yours. If you go there thinking he's gone and he's there, then you violated my order and you could find yourself in jail without bond. If you go there and he's not there, then that's not a problem. But like I said, the risk is yours, it's not his, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Ashley Druette. Morning, Ashley. What's your date of birth?
4/6/87.
All right. Ashley, I have a warrant for you out of Pasco County for failing to appear. The judge that issued that warrant set a bond of $253. I can't adjust that bond. If you're able to post the bond here, you can get out of jail, go down to Newport Richey, find out when they want you in court. If you can't post that bond, the folks at Pasco will be notified immediately and told that they have 5 days to come and get you. It does not take 5 days with Pasco, but if for some strange reason you were still here in 5 days, they would bring you back to see me and I'd find out what the holdup is, all right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Chelsea Garrett. Morning, Miss Garrett. What's your date of birth?
2/9/1996.
Miss Garrett, you're here on a warrant that was signed by Judge Toner. He found probable cause for a violation of probation. As to that charge, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Yes, sir.
I'll appoint the PD. Bond on the warrant is no bond. I can't change that. I'll send you back to see Judge Toner on the 4th of June. The public defender is going to come see you at the jail before your court date, okay?
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Maria Johns. Morning, Maria. What's your date of birth?
1379.
Maria, here on 2 charges. I've got grand theft and uttering a forged instrument. There's probable cause for those charges. As to those charges, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Or would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD. State.
Hi. Your Honor, in Ms. John's case, we'd be asking for an increase in the bail. Her cases go back to 2001. So criminal mischief, disorderly intoxication, violation of probation, Willis, failure to return property, fraud, check fraud, false names of law enforcement, violation of probation, Willis, DUIs, grand thefts, that kind of stuff. But most notably, over the last since 2010, she's had 6 or 7 FTAs.
Okay.
So I think if any bond that she makes is going to be a failure.
And does she have an open case? Is that right?
She was arrested, it looks like, in,
Maybe related to the same stuff.
maybe because of the arrest by 7, I'm not sure why she's...
Okay. That kind of fits with the PC.
Okay. There's probation violation, forgery, theft. There was probation violation in Polk County just right before that.
Brand new. Okay, yeah, so that's in this period. Okay. Okay. All right. And Maria, where you been staying lately?
I'm on 41.
Do you have an address?
I don't live in the American part of it, but it's 41 in Spring Hill.
Okay. Do you have a job these days?
Nope.
Okay. Set the bond at $4,000 on each count. The total is 8. I'll have you back in court on the 4th of June. If you get out, you should contact the public defender's office right away. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Samantha Sullivan.
Jimmy.
Morning, Samantha. What's your date of birth?
October 12th, 95.
Samantha, the charge this morning is aggravated battery. There's probable cause for the charge. It's being domestic in nature. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself, you want to hire private counsel, or would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD, state.
Ms. Sullivan has one prior arrest for misdemeanor marijuana in 2015.
Okay.
I don't even know what happened today.
Okay. Samantha, I have an address for you on Linden Drive in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
Yeah.
How long have you lived there?
About 5 months.
Okay. And does Mr. Bowles live there as well?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have a job these days?
Yeah. I'm a bartender.
Say it again.
Yeah, I'm a bartender.
Okay. Where do you do that?
Bonefish Grill, right on Cortez.
Right. Okay. All right, Samantha, I'm going to set your bond at $1,000. Condition of the bond is that you'll have no contact with Mr. Bowles. Did you hear me explain no contact earlier?
Yes.
Did you understand that?
Yes.
Okay, also have to hold you till 4 p.m., so if he wants to serve you with a civil injunction, we know where to find you. Finally, as far as the Linden Drive address goes, as long as he continues to live there, you'll have to go someplace else till we get this case resolved. You can go by one time to collect your things, but you must contact the sheriff's office first, and they'll meet you there with a deputy. And we'll have you back in court on the 4th of June. Samantha, it's very important that you contact the public defender's office when you get out, all right?
Okay.
Thank you. Dana Thompson Castillo. Want to miss what's your date of birth?
12/29/72.
And Dana, you are here on a warrant signed by Judge Rupi. She found probable cause for violation of probation. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself, you want to hire private counsel, would you like the public defender?
Defender.
I'll appoint the PD. Let's see. Bond on the warrant is no bond. I'm not going to change that. I'll send you back to see Judge Rupi. Let's see. What are we working on for me? We're working on 8th of June already. 30th of May. We'll have you back in court on the 30th of May, all right?
Okay, thank you.
Public defender will come see you before then.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Gildo Benitez Franco. Morning, sir. What's your date of birth?
8/20/64.
So you're here on a charge of battery being domestic in nature. There's probable cause for the charge. As to that charge, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender, please.
I'll appoint the PD, State.
No. Oh, I'm sorry. Here it is. I'm sorry. He's got one prior arrest in 1989 for domestic.
Okay. All right. And, sir, I've got an address for you on Point View Road in Brooksville. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been there?
About 9 years.
Okay. And does Miss Tenhagen live there as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you have a job these days?
Yes, sir.
What do you do?
Ground maintenance and landscaping.
Okay. You set your bond to $500. Condition of the bond is that you have no contact with Miss Tenhagen. Did you hear me explain no contact earlier?
Yes, sir.
And did you understand it?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Also have to hold you up until 4 p.m. so that if she wanted to serve you with an injunction, we'd know where to find you. Also, as far as the address on Point View is concerned, as long as she lives there, you'll have to stay somewhere else until this case is resolved. You can go by one time to collect your things, but you must contact the sheriff's office first. I'll have you back in court on the 8th of June. Very important that you contact the public defender when you get out, all right?
All right, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Judge, what was the bond?
500.
And no contact.
No contact. No contact. Yep.
Thanks.
Yep.
He's only out for a second.
It happens. David Brochu. Morning, David. What's your date of birth?
1179.
David, I have warrants, two warrants for you, one from Judge Toner and one from Judge Merritt. In each of them, it's a failed to appear warrant. In Judge Toner's case, it was to a felony driving on a suspended license. In Judge Merritt's, it was a grand theft. There is probable cause already determined on those charges. As to those charges, you're representing yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
A public defender, sir. I was incarcerated during the MFTAs in Paso.
Right. Yep, David, that's the most common reason that people fail to appear, and these warrants is the only way we get you back on the docket, unfortunately. So that probably means you will never be charged with the crime of failing to appear, but this is how we get you back. Very good. I'll appoint the public defender in each case. The warrant on from Judge Toner has a bond of $4,000. Unfortunately, Judge Merritt has a bond of no bond. I can't change that. I got one page 3. Where am I supposed to send them? Yeah. I'll tell you what.
Whoever's the one that has the lower case number,
Okay, let's do that. That's Judge Merritt's.
that's probably where the original charge came
Right.
from.
And so what's our date for Judge Merritt? 5/29? Okay. It's no bond on Judge Merritt's warrant, and then I will move the date to May 29th, and public defender will come see you before that, okay?
All right.
Thank you. Timothy Evans. Morning, Mr. Evans. What's your date of birth?
1/4/75, sir.
All right, Tim, you're here on a writ of bodily attachment. That means that a child support hearing officer and a circuit judge determined that you owe some child support. They set a cash purge of $660. Do you have $660, Tim?
Well, I was trying to get one. I was still in Washington County, sir, but I was unable to contact my family due to the phone situation.
Okay.
And then I got transferred down here.
Okay. Do you have a job these days?
I just started one a week ago.
Okay. What were you doing?
Remodeling a trailer, sir.
Okay. Is there any amount of money at all that you could get to the jail here in Hernando County if it meant getting out of jail?
I can make a few phone calls, but I don't know how I'm going to get back home, though.
Well, you sure can make phone calls. Here's the deal. In a second here, I'm going to find you in contempt for not paying child support and sentence you to 10 days in the county jail. The way to get out of jail is to have somebody get some money here, and that's why I'm asking you how much money you think somebody could get here.
I can make some phone calls. That's all I can do, sir.
Okay. I'll find you in contempt for failing to pay child support. As a sanction for that contempt, I will sentence you to 10 days in the Hernando County Jail starting today, or until we get a cash purge of $100. So you got to come up with $100 cash here at in Hernando County, and that'll get you out of jail. Now, if you come up with the money and you get out of jail, or you serve the 10 days and they let you out of jail, that will not solve this problem. You still will need to contact the folks at Child Support Enforcement or the Department of Revenue or whoever you got to contact, because if you don't take care of this child support arrearage, this process will start over again and you're going to find yourself getting arrested again somewhere down the line, all right?
Yes, sir, I understand what you're saying. 2 months ago, I arranged the paperwork to be filed and all that good stuff, and I just started making the payments, and all of a sudden, I caught a warrant.
Right. All right, well, it's $100 cash for 10 days, and then you want to follow up and make sure you get this cleared up, okay?
Okay, so I'll be able to make some phone calls?
Yep, they got phones, and you can make calls. As long as you got people who will take a collect call from a jail, you're good to go.
That's the problem. I don't have nobody to make a collect call.
Well, that's all we got for you.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Benjamin Goodwin.
Good morning, sir.
Morning, Benjamin. What's your date of birth?
6/16/89.
Benjamin, I got 3 warrants for you today. They're all signed by Judge Merritt. In each case, he found probable cause for a violation of probation. As to those charges, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender, please, sir.
I'm going to appoint the public defender. The bond on each of those warrants, of course, is no bond. I can't change that. I will send you back to see Judge Merritt on the 29th of May. They told you June 4th. It'll be May 29th. And the PDF comes to you before then, okay?
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bradley Gronke.
Morning, sir.
Morning, Bradley. What's your date of birth?
2/10/87.
Bradley, you're hearing a warrant that I signed. I found probable cause for a violation of probation. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You want to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender. I actually thought my court date was supposed to be on Thursday, and I didn't know the 9th was Wednesday. I went to court on Thursday.
Well, this VOP is based on you picking up a new charge, apparently. Okay.
Yeah, we've been seeing an accident.
Well, this VOP is you're on probation for a battery, and you picked up driving on a suspended, it says.
No, I don't have a suspend. I got a leaving the scene of an accident.
Okay. Tell you what we'll do.
I have a valid driver's license.
Okay, hang on. In that case, Kathleen, in front of Judge Rupi, that's the case, right? That's the brand new. Yeah. Okay. Is that a pretrial or is he set for arraignment? That must be. That's a pretrial. That could be an arraignment.
Oh, he was there yesterday.
Oh, and he got arrested on this. Okay. Okay. And they're looking for 180. All right. Here's what I'll do on this, Bradley. Appoint the public defender. Bond on the warrant is no bond. I'm not going to change that. I'm going to send this case back on the 8th of June. Then the other thing I'm going to do is get the other case, your new case that was in front of Judge Rupi and set for June 12th. I'm going to move that to the 8th of June. So my guess is on June 8th we'll be able to resolve both of your cases. That case is 18 CT 1332. We'll set that for pre-trial, I guess, on June 8th with your VOP. The public defender is going to come see you before that, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Daniel Lindsay. Morning, Daniel. What's your date of birth?
9/24/85.
Daniel, I got 2 charges today, burglary of a conveyance and grand theft. There's probable cause for those charges. As to those charges, you want to represent yourself. You want to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
I'm a public defender.
I'll appoint the PD, state.
Mr. Lindsay's history goes back at least 15 years. False reports, aggravated assault with deadly weapons, several violations of probation, duelist, grand theft auto, multiple grand theft autos, grand theft firearm, marijuana paraphernalia, a couple of larcenies over the last 2 or 3 years, credit cards, petty theft in Pensacola. That's right.
Okay. And Daniel, I have an address for you on Broad Street in Brooksville. Is that where you live?
Yes.
How long have you been there?
About 3 months.
Do you have a job these days?
No.
Leave the bond for the schedule, which is $5,000 on the burglary, $2,000 on the theft. The total is $7,000. You'll be back in court on the 4th of June. If you get out, you should go see the public defender right away. If you can't get out, they're going to come see you at the jail. All right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Anthony Maria Rossi. Want to sir, what's your date of birth?
2284, so.
Anthony, I got 2 charges this morning. I've got a sexual battery with a victim under 12 and illegal lascivious molestation. There's probable cause for those charges. As to those charges, you want to represent yourself? You want to hire private counsel? Would you like me to appoint the public defender? I'll appoint the PD. State.
He's represented by John Cruz already. He's got open cases that are separate hearings and trial.
Right. Okay. And other history that I should know?
Oh, yeah. Mr. Maria Ross is already a sex offender from a previous case. He's got an open case that's pending, like I said, separate trial.
Okay.
So there's, he's not entitled to bond. We ask that you leave it at no bond in this case.
I can on count 1, right?
I believe count 2 also, I believe, as per the bond schedule, since the victim was under 12 at the time. I'm pretty sure that both of them are.
I know. Certainly number 1 is.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then, Miss Daly, where do you want it to go?
531.
5 with the same one. That's where the other one is set for a motion hearing.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
So, when Mr. Cruz gets in, Mr. Cruz and I will inform Judge Merritt of the status because we are separate hearings that day. But if we can put it on 531, that'd be great.
Very good. All right. Then what I'm going to do, Anthony, is I'm going to leave the bonds on these at no bond. We'll have you back. We'll move these cases back with your other case, so they'll be back on the 31st of May. And I'm sure you'll be hearing from Mr. Cruz very shortly about the new charges, all right?
Sir.
Yes? Okay. And Mark Mullins. Well, Mr. Mullins, what's your date of birth?
01/25/59.
Okay. I've got 2 issues today, Mr. Mullins. The first is a warrant signed by Judge Rupi. Apparently you failed to appear in her court on a charge of driving on a suspended license. The second charge is possession of methamphetamine. There's probable cause for both charges. As to those charges, you want to represent yourself, you want to hire private counsel, or would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Appointed public defender.
I'll appoint the PD. Let's see. State what you know.
Mr. Mullins?
That's what he's got here.
Older history, 96, stealing stolen property, 98, this kidnap, assault, some kind of extortion charges, resisting without, but that's, nothing in the last 20 years.
Okay. And Mark, I've got an address for you on Williams Lane in Hudson. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been there?
3 years.
You have a job these days?
No, sir.
Okay. On Judge Rupi's FTA, I leave that bond at $1,000. I'll have you back in front of her on the 30th of May. They told you June 8th. It'll be May 30th. On the methamphetamine, I will leave the bond for the schedule, which is $2,000. And I'll have that one back on the 4th of June. So you got 2 court dates. Very important that you contact the public defender's office when you get out, all right?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Can I help you out?
Very good. Thanks, folks.